All right, welcome everybody to Google Classroom 101, an introduction. Now, I've been using Google Classroom for quite some time, and while I feel like that I am pretty savvy with the app, there are still some things that I either don't know or just don't use that often because they haven't become useful for the students or myself. But definitely explore a little bit more after this presentation and see what works for you and your students. Now, the first thing you want to do if you've never seen Google Classroom is you're going to want to look for this icon in the Google Suites. And the Google Suites is located within your 3x3 array of dots in the top right-hand corner, which will give you a series of different applications that Google provides. So when you go to it, it may not be right here, but it might be somewhere down below if you haven't used it very often, or you might need just to add it to your suites, which is another can of worms. Not too hard, but definitely we'll need to search for that. Now, within your Google Suites, all of these will definitely connect. You can do a Google Doc to Classroom. You can link your calendar to your classroom. You can put slides in your classroom. You could even post a Meet where the kids can click on a link and take them directly to where they need to be, which I think is going to be a very important thing for us in the next coming weeks. Some of the perks that I definitely appreciate about Google Classroom is the easy access for students. It's an easy interface, and generally students can navigate it fairly well. I've even worked with third and fourth graders with Google Classroom, and when I was very new to it, they actually taught me a thing or two. But so the other thing is everything is in one place. Kids don't have to go here to the calendar to see what their assignment is, and then go to another application or website and go there. This brings everything to one location for them. And another perk is that it links directly to the student calendar once something is posted. So if you post an assignment for the students, they will soon find the ease of finding your assignments. And I always like to joke with students that, did you check Google Classroom? And they're like, no, I checked the calendar. And I was like, oh, well, my calendar links directly to the Google Classroom, so you would have seen it, right? But anyways, PDFs, YouTubes, and links can also be attached, also in one location. PDFs such as assignments. I post the class notes. I always like to put a YouTube video, and I think this will be very beneficial for various subjects when we are looking at doing remote teaching in the next couple weeks. And then links such as Khan Academy or other websites that I want the students to go to. So if you have, say maybe a news ELA, or you have an article that you want them to read, you can link that directly to their to the assignments. And so there's no, I couldn't find it, right? Because you found it for them. The first thing that you're going to want to do is set up a class. Now, in the background, you can see that I put a screenshot of all of my classes, but this is the main class that I used, Math 7, all periods. That is the title that I put in, and then the subject I put in, I believe, is periods 1, 3, 4, and 5. And how you do that is you search the top right-hand corner next to your Google Suite, and you'll see this plus sign. This plus sign has two options: to create or join a class. And you're going to go ahead and click on Create a Class right there. Now, this screen will pop up, and the only thing that's required is the class name, and this will become the title of your class, just as mine was Math 7, all periods. And then the section right there, I believe it was periods 1, 3, 4, and 5. But everything else is only necessary if you choose it to be. To kind of personalize your Google Classroom page, you can choose a theme. Now, I was up in Mr. Carroll's room recently, and the students actually send in pictures of various things that they're learning or how they're connecting it to the real world. Mr. Carroll changes it, and that's just upload the photo right there. So If you want to put some pictures of the students, it might be even a fun thing to do with your students to send in a picture of their learning, and you can rotate them out each day, or just make it new, keep them coming back, keep the interest level high. But if you want to just do a pre-designed theme, Google has lots there for you. You can even search by subject and go from there. I went real classy and went with the math theme right here for my math class. But if you want to add your photo, just click Upload Photo, and you can add your photo, just kind of like a Facebook background that you've probably done before as well. The next step is getting your students in the class, right? So you're going to send, you can do it two ways. You can send a class code to all your students, which, if they were in front of you, might be pretty easy, but also on Google Meet might be fairly easy as well. And how you do that is they would click that same plus sign. Instead of create a class, they would click join a class, and they would click in this code that is produced, and it's on the main front page of your Google Classroom page, below your title of the class. And this little thing right here, this is how I got it to be a full screen. Excuse me. Right here, down here at the bottom. Now, the one thing I want you to look at too is manually adding your students. Now, if you can create a report with all of your students' emails, you can copy and paste that email list in here from PowerSchool. But if you don't, and you say you're in elementary, you only have your class of 30 students, it might be easier just for you to add them through their email. Now, once you start typing in their name, a suggested person will appear, and you can actually add those and invite them. Now, they actually have to approve it through their email, I believe. So you would have to instruct them to go into their email and click confirm. But the names will appear as you begin to type them. So again, two different ways. With older students, it might be easy for them just to add the class. And for younger students, it might be easy for you to add them. The next thing I want you to look at is the people. Now, up on the top, you'll see stream, classwork, people, and grades. The first three I use often. The grades I just don't do on this type of. I don't do it on this platform. But if you like it, by all means, go for it. Now, Miss DeSantiago, I've listed as a co-teacher here. She has a lot of my students that she supports, and so I wanted her to have full access to it. But if you do co-teach, this is a great way to get both of you active on the page, and both of you can kind of share the love in posting things. The other thing that you can do is you can also check to see which students have added or not added your class. Now, tell you a funny story. I got about 2 weeks into school this this school year, and I asked the student, "Are you checking Google Classroom?" Which the student replied, "What Google Classroom?" And that was my bad. I should have gone through and checked to see all my students were on there. And I also have a huge suggestion for you. Don't invite the guardians to this page. It is a whole can of worms. Google sends out lots of reminders saying that they haven't turned it in, it's missing, it's late. And I don't think that you want the multiple emails that will arise from it. Because what essentially happens is Google sends a weekly update. Now, it is the student's responsibility to click turn in on here if it's not an assignment that, say, has to have an attachment or whatnot. But if you click, if you invite the guardians, they will get a weekly update of missing assignments. And they will also get the email saying that this assignment has been posted. And with the kind of hysteria of everything going on, I think the best not to invite the guardians through this application. All right, before you create any assignments, I like to organize all of my topics by their units. So I teach just math, and so I have, excuse me. All of my topics are here. They're listed on the the left-hand side of you'll see the page in a moment. But right here, and I've put a couple out there, Unit 5 and Unit 10. You can see up here, Unit 10, Probability and Statistics, and then Unit 5, Ratios, Rates, and Proportions. And then when you create an assignment, what you can do is go ahead and choose your topic. And so it's easy for the students to find. And it also goes by date, right? So you can see here that we are increasing by date, and everything is there for the students to go back to and review and look at. And some things that my students really like about this is when we do our review sessions for an exam, I have them go back and watch the videos if they have extra time, or you can see here that I posted, materials for BrainPop, right? So they can go there and do that. Finding constants of proportionality, that was just an assignment. So basically it allows them to go back and to find the material without too much kind of guidance from you. Now, creating an assignment, this is the main tab that I use right here. So when you click on this, I want to say maybe oval, the drop-down menu will appear just like this: assignments, quiz assignments, questions, materials, reuse a post. So if you posted in the past, you can post it again. And then a topic, right? Now that's where you could find create the topic page as well, right down there at the bottom. But assignments, under the classwork tab, three things that I use the most are assignments, materials. Materials would be just like resource materials that doesn't require them to do any action. And I think the BrainPop, or like a video that I'm posting without any assignments, I just post as material. And then something I use in my Makerspace a lot is the question response. And I'll pose a question or a reflection item for them to use. And this might be a really beneficial thing for us to use over the next couple weeks when we are doing remote teaching. Maybe at the end of the week, you want to post a question like, reflect on 3 things that you learned this week. And then they can type into a little text box, and then you'll see everything there. One thing you'll want to do, and I can show you that maybe in a Google Meet, is turn off the comments, because instantly the students like to start commenting and saying hi and what's up, and I don't know, middle school comments such as "I am Jeff." But anyways, so you can use that for things such as that. Now, when you click on the assignments tab, you'll come to this screen. The title of the assignments, obviously, put the title of the assignment. And it's also, what I found very helpful is that you try to be consistent with your titling. Anything that I have the kids go to our Big Ideas Math portal, I put BIM in the front of it so they know that that's where they have to go. Or I make sure to include, if it's just a random assignment, I name the assignments in the title. Instructions are there for you. I always put instructions for the students, usually a 1, 2, 3, so they can go back and do a little checklist. And then the add feature right here is super important. We'll go over that next. You can add Google Docs, files such as PDFs, links, and YouTube videos. The other thing that you can do here is, if you want to use it as a grading feature, you may. I find it to be a little cumbersome and kind of repetitive when I'm using the Google, PowerSchool as well. So I always click on here and make this ungraded, which you'll see next as well. You can choose different students. So if you have students that may be on a different learning path, you can either take them off or create their own assignment for them and just choose them. And then a due date, as well as click on the topic so it goes to where it needs to be. All right, as far as assignments go, here we are. A little bit more detail. So choose which class and or specific students you wish to assign. The point value, as I said, I always mark as ungraded. So if you click on this little down tab, you'll see points/ungraded, or I think it just may say ungraded. So click on ungraded. This also takes some pressure off of the students. Due date, remember that it will post on the due date on your calendar, not the day that it's assigned. So you may want to, and this is what I do, I just click, the due date is the day that I assign it, so it posts on the calendar as that day. And all my students know that I said a disclaimer, right? It's going to be, it's not due on that day, it's the day that I assign it, right? And then the topic which you would like to do. And now if you are into rubrics or have a rubric that you would like the students to see, there's the rubric sign right down there, which you can add a rubric that you've already made, or you could even create one using their interface here on Google Classroom. So here we go, adding links to your assignments. So huge feature that I use all the time. You're able to add the links to your assignments. Now, Google Drive, you can do anything in your Google Drive, add that to it, but be sure that you have clicked on the view only, right? Because you don't want the kids going in there and editing your assignments. Links, typically my links are Khan Academy's Academy videos, websites, or other information I want them to have. File, that's the main one I use for class notes, supporting materials, and PDF handouts. And then YouTube videos. Again, if you even do Screencastify, though, you can create that into a YouTube video, and you can post that there as well. I am going to go into YouTube videos next because there's one little trick that I've learned, and it drove me crazy until I figured it out. So you search for the YouTube video that you would like to have, you copy the URL, and then you put in there, click on the search bar, and then proportions will come up, right? Or whatever you've chosen. And now this button down here, the add button, which I think I've covered up with my screen, will be gray, right? And you're like, come on, add it, add, right? It's not adding. You actually have to click on the video. It's really weird. Click on it, it will highlight blue, and then your add button will appear, and you will see that, actually, it will already be there, but it will appear blue, and you can go ahead and add the video that way. Now, this is what the students see when you post your lesson. And again, this was one of my Big Ideas Math Portal assignments. And 10.5 independent and dependent events. It shows when it was created, the due dates. Again, I always choose the day that I create it because it goes on the calendar that way. The instructions are there for the students to read. And then lastly, all the links that you provided for them to be successful. You can also see who has completed assignments. Now, again, there's a little tab that the kids actually have to click to say that I've turned it in. If you don't have anything for them to attach or to do, this may not happen, right? I don't have it happen very often anymore, and I actually kind of stopped, pushing them to do it because they always forget. But short answer questions, essays, reflections, you can leave feedback or private comments to commend a job well done, or provide comments to revise and revisit on any of your assignments. A few more possibilities here. Here are a few. So basically what you can do is, if you like to create a rubric, you can reuse the rubric that you already created. You can open it from Sheets. Here's kind of the grading window. Again, this is not something that I use, and all my assignments are ungraded on Google Classroom. because it's not my first choice of a grade book. But also the Google Suites are available for you as well. So if you're in the Google Classroom, just go to create. You can create a document and then automatically attach it to your page. I am here for you for question support, and my email is right down there at the bottom, and jogle@hcsdk8.org. But once you get started with your Google Classroom adventure, creating, organizing, and using of the various features will become easier the more you play around with the application. You will definitely find the features that work well for your students as well as yourself fairly quickly. If you have any questions or are in need of assistance, please don't hesitate to email me. If I can answer it right away, I will, or I will tinker over the program until I figure out how to do it for you. I'm pretty sure I could have gone another 10 plus slides, but for the sake of not taking up too much of your time, I believe these are the key components to get anyone started. Thanks for joining in and listening, and I hope that this was helpful. Take care, everyone. Stay healthy.